And welcome back to Sportsline right here on News Channel 5 Plus. Jon Burton, glad to be with you. Our first Wednesday extravaganza of 2018. Once again, Happy New Year, everybody. Looking forward to a happy, healthy, and safe 2018. Should be an exciting time, and it's already starting pretty darn good if you're a Titans fan, because for the first time since 2008, your team is back in the playoffs. Titans and Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium Saturday afternoon at 3:35. Here to help us break it all down is our good buddy from TitansOnline.com. He's covered the Titans for a long time. Few better, maybe none better, that know about this team better than our buddy Jimmy Wyatt. Jimmy, just don't tell Paul Kaharski I said that. Happy New Year to you and your family. Thanks so much for being on tonight.
Good to have me.
Jimmy, you know, it's funny. I talked about this last segment, and I know that sometimes you're fighting a losing battle here when you talk about the way some fans think, and I understand fan is short for the word fanatic. What really, I talked about this last segment, it really bugs me to hear a lot of Titans fans saying, well, I'm a little disappointed that the Titans made the playoffs because that probably means Mike Mularkey will be back as head coach next year. I'm a Giants fan, okay? My team's one of the worst. We have the number 2 pick in the draft next year. We're one of the worst teams in the NFL. Look at the Baltimore Ravens. Wouldn't they love to trade places with the Tennessee Titans right now? When your team makes the playoffs, it's a good thing, no?
Of course, it's a good thing. I mean, you got questions of your fans, and if that's what you're hoping for your team to lose to avoid making the playoffs for the first time in 2018, and you're rooting against a guy who's pretty much, working around the clock to try to make that happen. You know, but I know it's frustrated fans that, at times that this team has not played better on occasion, but when you sit back and look at the big picture and realize this team is one of 12 teams out of 32 that are still alive, and this team is just a couple of years removed from winning 3 games, and the year before that 2 games, and can't see the progress in back-to-back 9-win seasons, and see how much things have improved. I mean, you've got to be realistic about things, and the true Titans fans, the hardcore Titans fans, the ones who lived and died with this team since they've been here, they're overjoyed by the fact that this team is alive. And I know a ton of them are already making plans to go to the game on Saturday, and hopefully it's the start of a magical run. But I just think there were such high expectations for this team before it started. I heard 14-2 predictions and some of that, and when that didn't happen, I understand fans being disappointed, but you have to put things in perspective here, and got to be happy when players who fight, week in and week out to make sure it happens, and coaches have spent, so many sleepless nights trying to put together a plan. I mean, I think you got to be happy for what's happened so far, and keep your fingers crossed it's going to continue for a while.
Yeah, no question about it. Definitely happy for guys like Jarrell Casey, Derek Morgan, even Delaney Walker, despite the fact he's been to a playoffs and a Super Bowl before. The guys have been here for a few years that haven't tasted that playoff success or the joy of making the playoffs. Jimmy, I'm wondering which Chiefs team is going to show up on Saturday. This is a team that started off 5-0, then they had that midseason swoon where they went 1-6, but they finished the season strong, going 4-0. It looks like they've got things back on track in KC. Which team do you think shows up on Saturday?
Well, I mean, the Titans will have something to do with that. I mean, I think the Titans hope that they turn the Chiefs team into a team that has trouble stopping the run and has trouble winning at home. It's a dangerous team. I mean, Alex Smith is the highest-rated quarterback. They've got the top league's leading rusher. They've got a tight end who's just an animal in Kelsey. They've got speed and playmakers in the return game. They force turnovers. I mean, it's been a good team, and it's a well-coached team, and it's going to be a tough game to win. But with that said, I mean, the Titans went down there and won a tough game in December last year. This team, the strength of this team, it was supposed to be running the football, and Derrick Henry just being around him. I know you were there today, and hearing him motivated and talking about wanting to run angry and feeling like he ran soft on Sunday. He's motivated to run hard, and that's how you beat the Chiefs. Part of the way you do it is just by running at them and being physical. So that's what the Titans need to do, and turn the Chiefs into a team that has trouble stopping the run and letting and having this game be a game going in the fourth quarter.
Talking with Jimmy Wyatt from TitansOnline.com here on Sportsline. You can follow him on Twitter at JWyattSports. You can read him, of course, on TitansOnline.com. It's funny you mentioned the Chiefs' defense, Jimmy, because, like you said, they have one of the worst run defenses we know in the National Football League. And, you know, in the playoffs on the road, and cold weather, you got to pack your running game. So, on paper, this looks like a great opportunity for the Titans to run the ball behind that offensive line and with Derrick Henry. No DeMarco Murray again at practice today. So it looks like it's going to be Henry getting the bulk of the carries, although I know Mike Mularkey said he's not ruling out Murray being available to play. But back to the Chiefs defense, Jim. You know, in that 4-game winning streak to end the season, even though they're not great against the run, they're very opportunistic. 12 turnovers in those 4 games. So it's imperative every game, but especially in a game like this, Titans cannot afford to put the piggy on the ground or throw it to the wrong colored jersey on Saturday.
Yeah, that's where they kill you. I mean, as they live and feast off of turnovers and keeping teams, you know, from finishing drives. And Titans learned how important turnovers are in the game against Jacksonville over the weekend. They forced 4 of them, and one of the main reasons they won that football game. So Titans, you have to be smart with the football, not make mistakes, and I think it'll be hard pressed to force Alex Smith into turnovers because he's thrown just 5 picks all year. They don't turn it over very much, but playoff football, you just never know what can happen. I mean, stats go out the window. You know, crazy things happen that cost you games. And I hate to bring up a bad reminder, but remember the last playoff game the Titans were in. You know, the number 1 seed. You know, playing the Ravens over at at Nissan Stadium, and you know, if my memory's right, I remember an Algie Crumpler fumble. I remember, I think a Lindell White fumble. I think the Titans turned the ball over 3 times in that game, and they were done by guys who didn't make a habit of fumbling a lot. So you just never know what happens in big games like that, and maybe some trends will be bucked.
That would be nice, Jimmy. Yeah, you look at their offense. Kansas City's I'm talking about, very explosive, obviously. Smith's smart quarterback, as you said, doesn't turn the ball over. The rookie running back has had a great year, and Tyreek Hill might be the fastest, not only wide receiver, but fastest player in the National Football League. But the guy to me that they really have to stop is Travis Kelce. You know, he's very Gronk-like, a big, strong tight end that can run, that can get open. And whether it's Jayon Brown or whether it's Kevin Byard, they're going to have to account for where he is on the field at all times.
He's a guy that even if you cover him well, you know, he can still make catches. He's just so big and so physical, and he's got long arms, and he can kind of box you out like a basketball player down in the paint. And he's just a hard guy to contain. And yeah, I know Mike Mularkey mentioned Kevin Byard's name today when talking about defending him, but he also said several guys will be involved in that. And I think that's a huge matchup, not only in the red zone, but on third downs where they're going to them, and you got to figure out a way to stop them. And the Titans got to figure that out, try to limit his success.
Jimmy, it's, you know, when you talk about the Titans offense, we're talking with Jimmy Wyatt from TitansOnline.com. When you talk about the Titans offense, man, they moved the ball very well last week against a really good Jacksonville defense, but they really struggled in the end zone, settled for way too many field goals instead of touchdowns. That can't happen this week in a playoff game on the road, can it?
No, and you got to be better in short yardage. I mean, you obviously got to get touchdowns, especially when your defense gives you a short field, because it's such a, you know, it gives you such an emotional boost when you can capitalize on those, and it's such a point of frustration when you don't. And I think the Titans have got to figure out a way to be more effective on 3rd and 1. keep drives alive. There's nothing worse than being a team that's supposed to be known for being a smash mouth football team, and you just can't get a 3rd and 1. I mean, and that's one way where I think Derrick Henry and his new attitude could come into play on Saturday. I mean, he was disgusted by not being able to capitalize on some of those short yardage situations and being tackled behind the line of scrimmage for negative gains. I mean, I expect him to hit the hole harder. Terry Robisky talking use maybe a little more imagination sometimes in those situations, just instead of being macho, thinking, hey, we're just going to line it up and get it, even if the numbers aren't favorable there. So Titans have got to be good in those 3rd and shorts, and they got to be good in the red zone because you worry about a Chiefs team that has big play potential, and you worry about getting the home crowd riled up at Arrowhead.
Man, it's going to be loud there, is it not, Jimmy? We've been there for big games before. We know how loud that place gets. All right, final question for you, Jimmy. Finish this sentence. Titans will win on Sunday over the Chiefs if
Marcus Mariota is able to be a gamer like I expect him to be. I think he's certainly showed great signs this past week from a mobility standpoint, where he took off and ran, and I think that changes the whole offense when he's able to do that. So if Mariota is able to escape the pocket, run for some first downs, makes good decisions, and does not turn the ball over, I think the Titans can sneak out of there with the win on Saturday.
And it's off to New England, and won't that be fun and cold? Jimmy Wyatt.
Well, depending on the result of that other game, because Buffalo, I wouldn't sleep on the Bills either. If the Bills should find a way to win paired with the Titans win, then we'd be going to Pittsburgh, and Buffalo would go to New England. So, never know what can happen. And that's a fired-up Bills bunch, too, facing a Jags team that gave it their all here just on Sunday to try to win this game, and they're reeling a little bit over the last couple. So anything can happen in these playoffs, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually spoke with my dear friend John Murphy, who's the radio voice of the Buffalo Bills today, just to congratulate him because it had been so long since even longer since the Bills had made the playoffs. We all know what happened the last time they were in. To me, I know you're a longtime NFL guy. I'm a longtime NFL guy. When you see stories like that, stories like the Titans, obviously, that we're interested in locally, but a team like the Bills, not only getting into the playoffs in the first time in forever, but how they did it, seeing Cincinnati, beat Baltimore in the final minutes. John was explaining how raucous the plane ride was coming back to Buffalo from Jacksonville. You like seeing stories like that in the NFL, don't you?
You do if you're me, because I can't lie to you, JB. I grew up a Bills fan from the time I was a little boy, about 7 years old, watching OJ play.
Yeah.
Seeing him go for over 2,000 yards in 1973. I'll never forget watching that game, with my dad. And I went to the Super Bowl in '93 in Atlanta when the Bills were there. And when I was a kid in college, I used to, the year the Bills went 1-13, I had a Bills beach towel hanging out of my dorm window after they beat the Cowboys for the only win that year. So I grew up a Bills fan. Obviously, I've kind of lost my fandom, since I started covering the league, and obviously now I'm a Titans guy through working for the team. But a part of my childhood growing up was cheering for the Bills, and to see them win, and to see the people, celebrating, singing the shout song at the airport, I was very excited to see that myself, and I hope the people in Buffalo one day, will. Well, I hope the Titans keep win some Super Bowls, but the Bills, I like to see the people in Buffalo get some happiness, because I know those are hardcore fans who had to deal with a lot of frustration from losing 4 Super Bowls.
Sure.
Glad to see them rewarded.
No question. I'm from upstate New York, 3 hours east of Buffalo. I used to live in Buffalo and cover the Bills, so I'm very happy for that. Always happy to have you on the show, Jimmy. Thanks so much for jumping on. We'll see you in KC. And once again, Happy New Year to you and your wonderful family.
Hey, you too. Thanks, JB.
All right, that's the great Jimmy Wyatt from TitansOnline.com as we break down Titans Chiefs AFC wildcard game coming up this Saturday at Arrowhead Stadium. We'll take a break, come back, your phone calls, and we'll hear from some of the Titans players and coaches as they get ready to return to the playoffs. Playoff fever, can you feel it? Stay with us. We're back right after this.